What's up everyone, it's me. I'm back again with a collection update. I got some CDs and some vinyl to show off. And as I was putting this video together, I didn't realize that all of these were 2018 releases. I don't think I've ever done a video entirely on new releases. Let's roll right into it. Kick this off with a banger. Outer Heaven with Realms of Eternal Decay. This is their debut record put out on Relapse Records. Gatefold presentation. Excellent Mark Riddick art right there. And then you got the lyrics, credits, and all of that. Single LP. I got it on this blue with pink and green, and I think red and white splatter as well. Limited to 500 copies. I was lucky enough to be able to get this on vinyl because I pre-ordered it really late. I think it was only a week out from officially being released before I'd actually pre-ordered it. And these guys, they're from Pennsylvania, and if you haven't heard of them by now, you are fucking up. They play some excellent filthy metal along the lines of early death metal, you know, Morbid Angel, Cannibal Corpse. I'm talking the early stuff, you know, as well as some of the newer bands like Gate Creeper or Full of Hell, even though Full of Hell is more of a grindcore band than death metal band. 10 songs, just under 30 minutes. It's a quick punch in the gut filled with some riffs and just filthy death metal. I'm not gonna lie though, I was kind of skeptical about this record when it first got announced, because when Outer Heaven had announced that they were being signed, or they had gotten signed to Relapse Records, they had released a song, I think it was with the vocalist of Full of Hell, and I was not a particular fan of that, so I was kind of expecting something along the same lines as that. But once I listened to the first single, which I'm pretty sure is What Lies Beneath, which is the second song, all doubts were cast aside. I knew that this was going to be a banger of a record. You know, along with that song, you got Pulsating Swarm, the opener, Vortex of Thought, Echoes from Beyond, Blood Spire, Putrid Dwelling, Decaying Realms. This is just an absolute banger of a record. And along with comparisons, if you like the new Torture Rack record, Malefic Humiliation, you're definitely going to dig this one. I highly, highly recommend it if you like any form of death metal. And now this next record might throw some of you off, but if you've seen the videos where I talk about my CD collection, don't think you're going to be that surprised, because I do like pop music, but the artists are very few and far between as to who I actually like. This is Pale Waves with My Mind Makes Noises, also their debut record. This came out on Dirty Hit Records. This is also a gatefold, but unlike the Outer Heaven record, they decided to make this a double LP, even though it was short enough to be put on a single LP. Got printed inner sleeves with the lyrics, and the vinyl itself is a transparent red. It's probably not going to look transparent, but it is in person. When it comes to comparisons, I would probably compare Pale Waves to Against the Current, Paramore, but more of Paramore's new stuff, like the self-titled record and After Laughter. They get compared to the 1975 a lot, but I'm not a huge fan of the 1975, so I can't really say if that's a valid comparison or not. A lot of it is more of like, a lot of this record, at least half of it anyway, is really upbeat, like kind of basically standard radio type pop, I guess is what most people would say. You know, songs like 18, which is the opening track, One More Time, Kiss, Those songs are all like kind of standard songs that you would fit that would fit in on the radio, any top 40 radio station. But then there's songs like She and Black, Drive, Red, Television Romance, which is the first song I ever heard from them. Um, they add something to those songs that makes them stick out to me more than any other pop band or artist going right now. And I can't really even pinpoint what it is. It's just this band, there's something special about them to me that makes them stand out from the rest of the mainstream pop that is infecting the radio. And then the one song in particular that a lot of fans, and because of all the fans really hyping it up, like all the fangirls and everything, the final song, Carl, I Wonder What It's Like to Die, I kind of got excited for that song too. And that song in and of itself is an excellent song, and it's a great closer. It's an acoustic song that their singer Heather had written about her grandfather who had passed away 9 years ago, I think now. I also got this as part of a bundle, but I didn't bring any of it down. I got a signed postcard by all the members, and I also got that album on tape as well, because cassettes are starting to go into the mainstream as well. You know, Pale Waves isn't a massive band. They're only headlining small theaters right now, although I definitely could see them headlining arenas in the near future. But, you know, them, Bring Me the Horizon is a massive band. Their new album that's coming out next year is going out on tape. Ariana Grande, I like some of her music too. Her new album that came out earlier this year is coming out on tape. You know, tapes are starting to go mainstream again, which I guess to each their own as to whether or not that's a good or bad thing. I'm not going to comment on whether it is or not. Next up is Friendless. This is Ornamented Dead Eyes. This is a 7-inch. Came out on Night Shroud Records. I got mine through Meisako Un Oho. Comes with an insert here. Nice art of like a dead child probably. Then the lyrics and a skeleton. When this was announced, I didn't even know if I was going to be able to get it, because it was announced originally to be a Killtown Death Fest exclusive, just on black vinyl, but there's definitely nothing wrong with that considering that I'm lucky enough to even have this. And there was a Killtown Death Fest limited edition one. It had an alternate album artwork, and there were coins glued to the eyes of the skull that was on the album artwork. And it was only limited to 50 copies. This one, I have no idea how much it's limited to, but it's probably sold out on MSUO. It's probably going for stupid amounts on Discogs, but I haven't checked because I have no real reason to check. I own it, so how much it's going for on Discogs doesn't affect me. This is Friendless continuing where they left off with Desolate Endscape, the record that came out last year. Just some brutally punishing, filthy death metal. If you don't know, one of the guys from Undergang is in Friendless, so you're getting some of that Undergang stuff, but you're also getting a whole new animal with Friendless. If you don't know them, check them out. This release is probably available on Bandcamp. And if it's not, you know, they have, like I said, Desolate Endscape, their album that came out last year. That was a banger of a record. Definitely check that out. Next up is a band that took a while to grow on me over the last couple of years. Aborted with Terror Vision. This is their new record. Came out this year on Century Media Records. Excuse me. This is their 10th album. These guys are from Belgium. They play some brutally heavy, somewhat technical death metal. But it being their 10th record, if you're a fan of these guys, or if you've even listened to some of their stuff, you pretty much know what you're expecting at this point. Like I said, brutally heavy, almost bordering on technical death metal, even grinding at some points. This record, to me, it's kind of along the same lines of Retrogore, and that was a killer record as well. So if you like retro gore and you haven't listened to TerrorVision, I think you're definitely going to be into it. Next up is a solo record. This is Jonathan Davis of Korn with a Black Labyrinth, put out on Sumerian Records, trifold digipack. Gotta love the art. I don't know how well that's going to show, but the artwork on this is absolutely killer. Like I said, Jonathan Davis, he's the vocalist for Korn, and if you expect this to be similar to a Korn record, you're going to be incredibly disappointed. He adds a lot of gothic, more hard rock influences than metal influences on this record. I think the heaviest song on here is probably Everyone. It's been a while since I've listened to this record. It came out in May, I want to say. But from what I remember, Everyone is the heaviest song. I don't recall there being any screaming of any sort on this record, so don't look for that either. He adds, like I said, a gothic hard rock type influence to it. There's also like some Native American type instruments on this as well, which I found to be pretty cool. This definitely isn't going to be for everyone, but if you approach it with an open mind, you might like it more. But like I said, if you go into it with the expectation that it's going to be another Korn record, you're going to be disappointed. And, I guess kind of rightfully so, because if you expect a solo artist to do the same exact thing that their band is doing, especially if their band is still active, what's the point in even doing a solo record? The entire reason, as far as I'm concerned, is to be different. You have your one outlet to do the music that you want to do with that one. Now you have this other outlet to do something different. So why not do something different? And the last record I'm going to talk about, Palais Royale. This is their sophomore record, Boom Boom Room Side B, Part 2 to Side A, that came out 2 years ago in 2016. And these guys, self-proclaimed fashion art rock band, they're very theatrical with how they look and their performances. I've seen them live 5 times now. They've never let me down. My biggest complaint about this record, though, is that there's only 8 songs. Excuse me. Technically 7. That last song, The Boom, is just a piano instrumental with spoken word over it. I don't know exactly where they got the spoken word part from. So, it's just under 30 minutes, which I guess with it only being 8 songs in less than 30 minutes, it's probably a good thing, considering their previous record had, standard version had 13 songs, deluxe version, which I got, had 15, and it was an hour long. And some of the songs that were on there felt like they had to be on there just to be filler. So it's probably a good thing that there's only these 8 songs, because, every single song on here is an absolute banger. From the opening track, Death Dance, into Teenage Heartbeat Queen, then the first single, You'll Be Fine, my favorite song, Dying in a Hot Tub. The whole track listing's right there. I don't even know why I'm listing them off. Every single song is an absolute banger. It makes me want to come back to this more, just like the Outer Heaven record or Pale Waves record. I think also, along with it being shorter, I think it might have been a label thing too. This was also put on Sumerian Records, just like Jonathan Davis's record. I think their label might have had a say in it, because on their social media they had posted about having so many songs that they wanted to record, and then this only comes out with 8. And I saw them live on their headlining tour a couple weeks ago at the end of October, and the record had only been out for a month at that point, and they were already playing a new song on that tour. So like I said, kind of glad it's only 8 songs because it cuts out the bullshit and every song's an absolute banger. But at the same time, that one song that they had played live that wasn't on here, that was an absolute banger too. So, you know, who knows? Maybe it was the label, maybe it was the band that said they wanted to cut things short. But, you know, like I said, these guys take how they look very seriously. The art in this, it's not focusing at all. What the fuck? The art that they put into the record, how they perform on stage. These guys are artists and definitely deserve a lot of attention. Yeah, give this one a listen. It's not a heavy record. I consider it along the lines of Jonathan Davis's record in terms of heaviness. It's got its moments, but it's definitely not metal, and it's definitely not going to be for everyone. And that is going to conclude it for this video. Hopefully shit made sense. There's going to be links to everything down in the description for you to check these out and listen to it if you haven't. And I will see you in the next video.